with nature-based school founders. Today we have Amanda. We are so excited to hear her story, and I just want everyone to really soak these stories up because these founders are changing the world one child at a time. I am Meagan Duncan, founder of Connected Kids Thrive, Positive Behaviors Guide for Nature Schools. And we are going to invite Amanda to tell us all things about her, her journey, her school. And we're going to cover those 3+1 questions that we have asked everyone in this series. And they are, just so you know, um, what inspired you to start this journey in the first place? Number two, what challenges have really shaped your journey? Or what behavior shifts have you kind of gone through along the way? Number three, what little nuggets of wisdom do you wish you would have known that you can share with our audience? Because our audience is, of course, founders. It's educators who are looking to up level and parents who are interested in growing and learning more too. And then the fourth question, and Amanda's the first one that I'm kind of inviting this. And I did let her know before we began that I'd be throwing another one at her. I would never, surprise a guest. But the fourth one is, what do you hope the audience walks away with today? So if I forget that last question,
Okay.
definitely say, whoa, we are not done. And so with that, Amanda, will you please let us know about you and your school and what inspired you to start your school?
Yes, absolutely. My name is Amanda Alappat. I am a mom of three children. I have an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And my husband and I have a children's art, yoga, and meditation business that he started 10 years ago in New York City. And, I was been along every step of the way. He calls me his angel investor and just, supported the mission. And then over the years got more and more involved. And once we moved from New York to Pennsylvania, it became very clear to me that I wanted to start a forest school. And we were going to create this whole separate entity with this whole separate being. And then we realized, oh, actually, we could just add a fourth discipline to Spark, art, yoga, meditation, and nature. And all of a sudden, the picture became clear, the mission became complete because transitioning from an urban environment to a more, rural environment, we spent our life outside. We were barefoot, we grew a garden, and so we realized that this was such a crucial piece missing for so many children. And so while Spark is really my husband's baby, Spark Nature, our once a week forest school, has really become my baby. So we are located in the Poconos of Pennsylvania. We have 6 acres of land. And yes, we are year two. We are in the fall semester of year two. We had a very successful first year. And it is a drop-off program. It is mixed age from 4 to 12. And we have three teachers, myself, my husband, Mr. Sebastian, and we actually have another local homeschooling father, Mr. Adam, because when I felt the vision, it was very important that there were male teachers. I had seen the impact of my husband with students because so many educators, let's face it, are women, caretakers, babysitters,
Mhm.
grandparents, like so many caretakers are women. And that's great, right? That's our nature. But I really felt like I needed another dad. I needed grounded, present, emotionally connected men to help me run this school. And so my husband and I both also knew that we wanted a third person. We wanted a trio, given that what we were going to do, working with tools and real life skills and fires, and we needed a little bit more support. And we say all the time, we have the dream team.
That is, you know, I would say you're the first person founder that I've interviewed with a male team. And
Changes everything.
it changes everything, that
Yeah.
that balance of the energies and the modeling, and
Mhm.
that's amazing. And
So I really serve as like the backbone. I'm the mama bear. I'm holding the container. I'm looking out. I'm making sure everyone is accounted for, tended to, really keeping a pulse on the children. So that way, Mr. Sebastian could lead the art, and Mr. Adam could lead the nature. And, we could have this cohesive, collaborative team where we all are supporting each other, and stepping in and out as needed.
oh my gosh, what a dream. What a dream. Like, who
Dream
would
come true.
not want to live in that world? Amazing. Okay, so that's a little bit background. What inspired you to start your school to begin with?
So back when we lived in Manhattan in New York, during peak pandemic, a local mom, I had a 4-year-old at the time and a new baby. A local mom was telling me about this forest school in Central Park. And for those of you that might not know, Central Park is the big park in the center of the city. And she said, you just have to try it. Like, trust me. And this mom and I, we had a similar vibe. And so I was like, okay, let me give it a go. I had never left my daughter anywhere. I never dropped her off anywhere. The world at that time was so weird. I did not feel comfortable putting my daughter in a mask. And so I wanted something for her to just nurture her and nourish her, especially because the world was so weird. We weren't seeing family, everything was shut down. And so Miss Angela was this like fairy godmother of a woman who, gathered the children and then they would just stroll through the park. Now, there was no like lesson, so it's a little bit different, but there was like no structured learning. It was just 3 hours of them climbing rocks and trees and walking around. And she just had this way about her. And it was also a dream come true. I'm like, wow, if this is my daughter's first interaction with the world outside of us and first school experience, like I've hit the jackpot. And it really inspired me. She ended up deciding to move. We ended up deciding to move. And I just felt deeply like I need to recreate this for my subsequent children. Like I want my other two kids. I only had I had two at the time, but I wanted all of my kids and also the children in my community to experience the essence of that program. And so it was just a little seed that was planted. Um, and it took, it germinated over time. But like I said, year two.
That's amazing. One of my biggest takeaways here is, and for everyone listening, is that the no structure model works beautifully. The structured model works beautifully. That's what nature school can really be designed, how whatever is in your heart,
Mhm.
whatever you feel
And that
comfortable.
particular program was for 4 to 6 year olds. So I actually think
Okay,
not having structure worked really well.
those little
They just
ones.
got to play.
Oh,
And, for some of us at that time, we were a little tentative at how far she would kind of let them out, of her little surrounding areas. But
mhm.
I trusted her. I was just like, this is good. This is good. Like she's really giving space.
Mm.
And I learned so much just from observing.
I I love that you pointed that out because, as founders listening and educators, um, it is our confidence. And that's how you gained confidence. Is you're like, okay, this is kind of new. This is all right, I'm just gonna trust you. You seem to trust yourself and you seem to trust the kids. I guess I'm gonna do the same thing. And it really led to your own transformation too. And of course the kiddos. So very,
Definitely.
very cool.
And I will say that a couple of years prior, I did a training in RIE, which is
Mm,
Resources for
yes.
Infant Educators. And so much of that is trusting the child, trusting the child's competence. And so I had a foundation of that. I did allow, my daughter to test her physical limits and, not hovering at the playground and, you know, giving space for her to fall or to make a mistake or to figure out how high she wants to climb without me, plopping her up on a slide. Um, and so I'm thankful that I had some of that awareness too.
Yeah, that's amazing. Had you been kind of an outdoorsy person before that, or did that? No, okay,
No,
amazing.
I grew up, in the 80s and 90s. So I did play outside. We did have some freedom. We were allowed to ride our bikes around the neighborhood and walk to stores and things like that. But my family was not nature centered at all. We never went camping. There was no emphasis on the importance of getting outside. Um, yeah, I just I found it in my early 20s living in an urban environment. I would spend a lot of time in Central Park. I just intuitively enjoyed nature and all of that. And once my first child was born, spent a lot of time in the, playgrounds and outside, and just like I've always felt better outside. And then when my husband and I were deciding, do we stay in the city and raise our kids in this urban environment with its conveniences and its culture and all of that, or do we make the jump and really align with nature and center our life around nature? Um, Obviously nature won, and it was really moving out here that things really shifted, just because it's all around. I'm not surrounded by buildings and concrete anymore. And I was able to just really pay more attention to the seasonal changes and be outside in all types of weather, and having to tend to the land in all types of weather.
Yeah, it definitely comes with its less conveniences for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm.
But man, when kids can run outside the front door barefoot, there is just nothing like it.
Yep.
Um,
And we
that's
were very lucky in both of our New York City apartments. We did have backyards. And so we did have a taste of, walking outside barefoot, and I held a lot of play dates and a lot of, meetups and hangouts. And it was just life-giving
yeah,
to step outside and feel the sun on your face and hands in your dirt and just, have that experience.
um, incredible. It is interesting how some people are just naturally more drawn to nature and some, you know, aren't. And I think what came to my mind for you, because you didn't grow up in it really, you didn't go camping, but it sounds like it wasn't something that was pressured or forced on you either. So it was a very freeing experience.
Yeah, it was a natural discovery, and also
Yeah,
never too late, right?
exactly.
Like it was my mid-20s that I started to feel the draw,
Yeah,
and the connection to it.
it's amazing. So it's never too late, everyone. And I think releasing expectations and just finding the joy or just feeling the joy when it comes is the key.
And I will say that's also why I wanted more teachers than myself, because
Yeah.
I know that I'm not an expert. I know that I'm still very much, a novice learner. I wanted someone that had real embodied wisdom about
Mm,
nature.
yeah.
And that's where Mr. Adam comes in.
That's no, thank you for making that point. And that can add so much value to a program and to the experience of kiddos. And that does he just kind of sprinkle that wisdom into the kids' learning and like emergently, or do you have
No, so before every
plan?
semester, the three of us sit down and we map out the curriculum and we make a
Okay.
week-to-week plan. And it's so fun to brainstorm. And, he has three children in the program. We have our three children in the program. What do we want our kids to learn? What do we want them to walk away with? What are we trying to instill? We'll look at, any solstices or equinoxes or seasonal changes. And so we create this curriculum and then an art project to go with the each week's theme. So my husband does the art and he does the nature lesson. And so it really is based on the theme. But he's a good hour of the program. My husband's a good hour of the program. And so no, not sprinkled in at all, like baked in.
Baked in. Oh my gosh. And again, that just speaks to the beauty of a program being designed however the founders want it to be. And so
Yep,
um
absolutely.
that's incredible. Okay. Um was just question number one. Have you gone to question
Yes.
number two?
No.
Okay, question number two. What challenges have you overcome or that have really shaped your journey? Or behavioral shifts have you gone through that's really shaped your journey that you can share with us?
So we have a few neurospicy kids in our program. And I really had to adjust my lens on what participation looks like
Mm,
and really expand it. And so being open to differences of learning styles,
mm,
um, getting out of my own way of how I think something should look or how I think a child should be learning, and trusting that even if it doesn't look like participation or it doesn't look like they're they're getting something out of it, that they actually are.
mhm.
My bias is neurotypical. I grew up neurotypical. Um, and for better or worse, that is the lens that I have. That is how I move through the world. And so inviting children in that have unique perspectives or unique learning styles has really forced me to um, make accommodations
Mhm.
and see things differently. And like I said, trust, trust that they're getting what they need to get out of it, even if they don't do the art project, or even if they are not participating the way that all the other children are participating. So that's been a really big one because we do want to make space for, our neurodivergent friends and have a space for them because so often we hear from parents that there is a lack of spaces where their children could be free, that they're not, confined or forced to conform or pressured to adhere, right? That they could come and just like all the other children, have the freedom to be themselves and to feel safe and also to feel like they belong. Um, so that's great. We have what we call some floaters. So
Mhm.
if we're all gathering in a circle, we know a couple of the children have a very hard time kind of coming together and, just inviting them in, encouraging them to come and sit, but also knowing that that's a real challenge for them. Um, and yeah, I want to like knock wood. We haven't had too many issues. Um, a lot of the kids have, come now 2 years in a row, or even before we started Far School, came to our other program, are very familiar with our energy and our vibe, um, and I think giving a lot of space for
Mm.
unstructured play makes um, focus time so much easier.
Yes, exactly. So I wrote down your sprinkled, the sprinkled on versus baked in. I'm gonna do something with that. But what you have those containers where the kiddos are brought in close and then the wanderers, which what I want to share here too that was shared with me is, we don't look at the radio when we listen to it. We're still
Hmm.
gleaning the information.
Hmm.
And so these kiddos are still getting what they need um without, having that still body or
Hmm.
whatever the other children are able to do. And
And this
I
is where I adjust my lens, right?
yeah,
Like, or my expectations. Like,
yes,
I know this child.
yes,
I know that this child is listening and participating in their own way. Just because it doesn't look like the 20 other children
yes.
doesn't mean that I need to force, again, gently encourage, kindly invite, you know, um, speak my desire for them to come and join.
Mhm.
And to me, as long as they're not disruptive,
Yes.
or pulling other children away, or causing a disturbance in the energy field, then fine,
Yeah.
climb on the log, you
Yeah.
know.
I think two words that I wrote down are control and space. So what, as you were sharing, you give lots of time for plenty of free space. And so that actually, and I know you know this, and so many listeners know this, when we do give plenty of free time and space for autonomy, all of that, when we do ask for that container, more intimate time, they are more likely able to do that. Their bodies are ready, more likely able to do that. And we still have the wonders who are on the periphery, getting the information in the way that they need.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. So,
and
and we're
then
about 50-50 between structured and unstructured
what
in our
that's,
5 hour day.
yeah. And what's cool is what I love about nature schools too, the model is we can alter that to whatever the kids need. If some kids need
Hmm.
more structure, we can kind of tighten it up. If they need
Hmm.
less, we can loosen it out.
Hmm.
We don't have
Yeah,
all these
we like tweak in real time.
yep, we don't have all the boxes to check that other environments do, the other
Mhm.
settings do. And um, the kids get to be the agenda every single time, every single day,
Absolutely.
which is so cool. And the other thing that this all speaks to is, because one of the biggest challenges that, founders that want to, or educators that want to start a school have is it can feel very overwhelming and it can be very overwhelming. But when we learn to control our own self and our own need for control, we can release the control of the children and
Hmm.
the need to the need to have that control over them all the time. But when
Hmm.
we kind of, find that within ourselves as our job, it can be really, really helpful, as I know
Absolutely.
you have discovered.
I will
Um,
also say our land is kind of contained.
mhm,
So it's 6 acres, which is a nice size, but it's not
Mhm.
overwhelming. And because it's contained, I could relax
Ah, yes.
knowing that they're not going to leave this one area,
Yeah.
right? And so I could let go of the control and trust that they're over here doing their thing.
Yeah. Um, that's very, very helpful when there is a outside perimeter marker
Yeah.
barrier for
Yeah.
sure. And then that can happen too with whenever there's no physical barrier. A little
hmm
harder for sure, but
hmm
I feel like I want to see your place. Oh my gosh, maybe we will make that plan.
Yeah, come visit.
I think I might. Okay, are you ready for question number three?
Yep.
What do you wish that you would have known earlier in your journey that would have helped you kind of get to where you are, your goals a little bit sooner, that nugget of wisdom, that advice that you can share with our audience?
I think I underestimated how much I would love it.
Oh, how fun.
I was focused on this is for the kids and this is for the children and this is for the community. All true, all priority. But concurrently and
Mm.
simultaneously, this is for me too. And each week I say to my team, I can't believe this is our life. I can't believe we get to do this. I can't believe our Mondays are this. Like this is the start of our week. And so, yes, it could be overwhelming. It could be daunting. It could feel like, oh my God, how do I start all of that? But like there is so much joy. There is so much soul satisfaction in standing back and seeing children play in nature in a way that I feel like they're meant to, that we're getting further and further disconnected from. And so, um, yeah, like don't forget you in the process that, I've healed my inner child through this program. And that wasn't on the forefront. That wasn't part of the intention. That wasn't part of the plan. That's just been a side effect. Um, and I will say, don't wait. Don't wait. Children need grown-ups to step up. Children need grown-ups to steer the ship. We say that this is important. Yes, kids need to be outside, kids need to be off screen. Well, then someone needs to actually step up and create these programs. And that's really, a deep mission of mine is just to inspire other people. I didn't grow up in nature, right? I didn't have a nature degree. I, have only recently discovered my love and connection to nature. And here I am doing it. Um,
I
so
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I remember when you and I had talked the last time we talked, you had shared that whatever barriers there are, we'll overcome it. Whether it's land use, whether it's what yard size, like
insurance, permits,
yeah,
behavior,
all
like
there's always help. There's always a way. Everything is always figure outable,
yep,
and definitely not letting that stop you and finding the joy. Oh my gosh,
the joy. Like, oh my God, don't forget that this is fun. This is like an enjoyable, incredible, extraordinary thing to create.
and I think so much of the time I'm just so thankful that you brought that point up because, we do it for the kids. We do everything for the kids. We give and give and give and give, but this can be soul filling for us too, and so joyful for us. So,
And like I didn't really consider that
yeah.
in the whole creation of it. It was just like literally, I want this for my kids.
What do you think has been the biggest contributor to that, to your program? Because they all look a little bit different. What do you think is the biggest contributor for your program being so joyful to you?
It's on my land. It's at my
Okay.
home.
Okay.
It is a lot of children of my friends and my community, children that I care for like my own. Excuse me 1 second. He's not here. I'm on a call right now. I cannot.
We made a plan for this.
Yeah. So yes, it being on my land, being with children that I would take in as my own. And I would do
Mhm.
that for all children, but
Yeah.
feeling a close connection to all of these kids, having the team, that it's not all on me,
Mm.
that it is a collaboration. There's 3 adults here. There's three grown-ups. Um, yes, I'm the backbone and I'm overseeing it, but I have two solid men side by side, um, that allows me to take pressure off myself. Like I'm not responsible for the nature lesson and the art lesson, right? I lead the circles, I lead the song, I check in. So I could be in the experience and I could do a lot of witnessing.
Mm,
And there's a lot of joy, I feel like, in the witnessing of what you create by standing back and overseeing it all. Um, and being like the mama bear, right? Like I'm the only woman grown up here. And so just that role of tending to the children and nurturing them and calling in the directions and just being able to like pour into them and love on them and give them this experience. We talk about all like the negatives of culture and what's wrong with, society. And for me, I would much prefer to create culture.
mhm.
I can't obviously control, the larger world out there, but in my little pocket over here, and my little piece of land, I get to create a change.
Mhm.
And I know, I really hope that these children grow up and think back, like, what were some of the best moments and memories? And they think of the stream here, and they think of the art studio, and they think of the great pine that they climb, and, these imprints.
Yes, I guarantee that they will definitely, I would hope that they would have words for those things, but they will feel a sense of completeness for sure. Um,
And not like missing out. I feel like we could, as adults, we could look back and say, oh, like, I wish this thing happened, or I wish I spent more time in nature. I wish my parents were this way. So I don't want them to have like those those wishes. Like I
mhm.
want them to have those wishes fulfilled, especially as they begin to realize more and more how digital the world is and how screen-based the world is. It's like, wow, we had a real gift of having this kind of childhood that's becoming extinct.
It is. Um, I think something that you mentioned that I want to pull back is I think we all have a little bit more control than we think we do of our own pocket in the world. And so there's so much noise and chaos out there, but you know, we can, and it takes hard work and dedication for sure. And it is harder for others maybe than some, but we do control more and we can make dreams come true. So
Absolutely.
if you're, yeah, and so that leads me to the last question, right? Number four that we're adding on. If you could, what is your wish that you wish our audience could take away from this conversation and from the work that you're doing?
Like if you feel the whisper, if you hear the calling to go for it, to do it, I do feel like there's an urgency here and that we can't afford to wait. And like I said before, we need more adults willing to step up and bring kids outside and create forest schools and nature programs and really change how we're educating children. And so I believe if you have the instinct or the intuition or the little excitement to figure it out, to make it happen and find a team, find someone to collaborate with. So, like I was just saying, it takes such pressure off when you're not doing it alone, when you're not holding it all, when you could share the tasks and share the joy and share the investment of time and energy and money and all
Mhm.
of it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, just to do it, to do it.
To do it. I love that.
And remember,
Mm,
there's so much joy to be found.
yeah. And that's what balances out and keeps us going. That's the
Absolutely.
life elixir
Hmm.
that keeps us going. Well, thank you, Amanda, so much. How can people reach out to you?
So we are on Facebook under Spark PA. We also have Spark NYC, and we're trying to bring a forest program to New York because those kids, are inside a lot. We have a website, thespark.nyc/PA. You can find our nature program there. We also have a nonprofit, Spark Arts Inc. And what we try to do is raise money to bring art, yoga, meditation, and nature programs to underserved communities. We just opened up a sticker shop yesterday where kids upload their artwork and turn them into stickers. And then parents and grandparents and relatives could buy their loved ones stickers of of their artwork, which is, a really cool idea. I'm also on Instagram, thespark.pa.
Amanda has got a lot going on. I might have to check out that sticker stuff. My kid's obsessed with stickers, so how
Yeah.
meaningful.
Yeah,
And
you could submit your child's artwork,
okay,
and then as long as it's up to, our specifications of,
okay.
brightness and it's really got to stand out, we'll create it as a sticker.
And then the proceeds go to
100% of the proceeds go to our nonprofit, Spark Arts
okay.
Inc. So
So,
it's children's art supporting children's art.
oh my gosh. Christmas gifts, everybody,
Yeah.
and it's going to a great cause. I am creating a Christmas list that founders can contribute to. So I will definitely reach out to you if that's something you're interested.
Amazing.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
interested. So, um,
Perfect.
thank you, Amanda. And
Thank you so
for
much for having me.
everyone listening, what I do is I help nature-based school teams bring their team together in deepening the understanding of behavior so that everyone is approaching behavior with unity, compassion, clarity, confidence, and so that, challenges aren't being actually reinforced and kids are being approached from that needs-based perspective. So if you're interested in talking to me about that, I will put both Amanda's links and my own links in the bottom of the description, and you can find me at Positive Behaviors Guide for Nature Schools on Facebook too. And
And
so
thank you so much for doing that work. That brings me so much ease to know like you exist and your work in the world exists. And, if and when the day comes that I do have a challenge, like there are resources, you are available so that, because obviously teaching outside is very different than four walls and a screen.
it is. And what I have found is nature school founders and their teams are so equipped in so many realms, even behavior. But sometimes there's just something that isn't clicking into place. And I come from, a multi-modality background of speech therapy and early intervention and foster that trauma-informed foster care. And so I can, um, positive discipline, ABA a little bit too. So I come in with a whole bunch of modalities and I can help, just click a few things into place
Mhm,
to make
mhm.
life a little bit easier for everyone. So, um,
Amazing. Thank
Amanda,
you.
thank you so much for being here. Thank you everyone for listening, and continue listening to these interviews because they are amazing and founders are doing the most amazing work. So with that, we will say bye and we'll see you later. Bye.
Blessings. Thank you.